Hello, everyone! We are very excited to have you back, and we're so excited to be back ourselves for another split of the LCUS brought to you by GMA Gaming. And tonight, we are going to talk about the league during the Let's Talk About the League podcast. And folks, I don't want to say we're new and improved. I've always been a Dynamo #1 podcaster in all of GMA, but we were bringing on some real talent imported straight from Wisconsin. I know a lot of you folks don't know where that place is, but we have with us Jeff, legendary caster of LCUS Smite, and Christy, also known as Mustache. How are you folks doing?
Awesome. Thank you for having us.
I'm good, Justin. Thank you for having us.
Oh, well, very good. And even saying my name, oh, please, I won't get to sleep tonight. Well, folks, we got a whole lot of podcasts to go into. And do not forget, throw those questions in chat while we're doing this at the end of the show. We'll see if we can knock some of those out, provide you with some solid answers, because I know that's what you're waiting on. Well, hopping into it, Split 5, quite possibly the most monumental split in all LCUS history. We got a lot to talk about with some major team changes, and maybe we should rank them just to get us started. I know that right now, just to break everything down for folks, I'm going to read them to you in my order, but this is you can make your own order at home. Make sure you send it to us on our Facebook. Check out that at LCUS. Make sure you add it. I appreciate it. I have option 12, Phoenix, Northern Storm, Gale Force, 9 Lives, Blitzkrieg, and White Wolf. Those are the 7 teams participating in this split, and that's the rank that I have them in, going in that order. There's definitely a lot of room for movement there, depending on a few things, but I think that's going to be a solid look at how this split's going to play out. What are some of your guys' thoughts? Jeff, please, let's start with you.
Well, I'm close to you at the top. I got the reverse in terms of the top 2. I got Phoenix going number 1 and option 12 2. And then I followed that up with actually 9 Lives, who you have all the way down at 5. Then we match at Gale Force at 4. And then I go Northern Storm. So we have our 3 and 5s swapped up. And then White Wolf and Blitzkrieg. So we have our 6s and 7s in between. So we're sort of kindred spirits, but at the same time, we just seem to be a little off base. So, I just think we need to hash things out a little bit. For me, Phoenix, they have the strongest, most consistent looking top to bottom roster. You look at a guy like Lofi Senpai, that's just a very solid top laner. Alonzi Tardis, very consistent player in the LCUS, been here for a long time. We know what we're going to get from him. Ace going back to the mid lane. Evil Envy, very solid AD carry. Gregosaurus, he is my brother, and I would love to shit talk him, but he's okay. So, to me, Phoenix is a very strong top to down roster. I'm not going to go through all 7 teams right now because I want to give Christy a chance to talk as well. But for me, we're pretty close to the same page, but not quite there.
Yeah, and I gotta agree with you. Phoenix is my #1 pick right now too. I think they're bringing a lot to the table. Someone has got to shake them and tear them down a little bit, but they're like a staple team, so it's gonna be hard. But in number 2, I put Gale Force, 3 option 12, 4 Blitzkrieg, 5 White Wolf, 6 Northern Storm, and 7 9 Lives. I actually had a lot of trouble trying to choose right now because teams are so switched up, and it's a really good mix of people this season.
I couldn't disagree with the bulk of what either of you said more, but I do think it's interesting to point out. One, each of us have this faith pick in our potential playoff contenders that the other people have as low-end performers. For example, Christy, your Blitzkrieg pick on 4. I want to believe in this team so hard. If it was a religion, I would be willing to considering converting, but I don't. It's going to be dependent on if that solid roster of got to get lucky. And Contos, Stelio
Right.
Contos, if they're able
Yeah.
to get them on their feet, get this team organized right off the bat, they could be dynamo. They could be fantastic. Fat Jackalope had a wonderful split with his inaugural split with us last time. Chop Suey, a prior sub. SMG Sniper during his gym class feeders, one of the most aggressive supports I've seen entering the game at this time. So I think there could be some real, if they can find that cohesion, they're going to be strong performers.
Well,
So I can see your logic there.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say cohesion and stuff because knowing them, the top, mid, and jungle have all played a decent amount of games together. And then the bot lane has also, those two have played a lot of games together too. So if they can find a way to mesh and, work together, I think they could be really strong because, like, they have the separate synergies. They just have to bring it together.
Couldn't agree more. And in terms of this Faith pick, you have. Well, I want to spend some time talking about Gale Force. Both Jeff and I think they will be a playoff contender, but non-lives. What are they doing there, Jeff?
Well, I mean, I think that the thing with 9 Lives is that you've got, for me, Brandana is the X factor right there. We've seen him on the AD carry role in the past. Obviously, a very skilled mechanical player. Now you take that skill level to the mid lane, which, with no disrespect intended to the LCUS, has generally been the role that decides games. You look at, guys last split, you got Von Hohenheim, you've got EggCL last split. You've got guys who almost solo carry games constantly from the mid lane. And now you're taking one of the most mechanically skilled players in the LCUS and you're plugging him into the mid lane and you're taking him out of a role in AD carry, which, excuse me for saying so, Riot, you're stupid. AD carry is garbage right now. So you are removing a very, very good player from a crappy role and putting him into a role where he can carry. And then you have guys like Greatbeard of Odin, Huge. These are proven veterans in the LCUS. 9 Lives is a wild card in this league where we will see how far Brandana can carry them.
And they've got a completely new bot lane to the split, which, by the way, welcome to the LCUS.
Yeah, Vampy de Vampire and Bryo, who I will pronounce your name with a strong accent until you correct us. So please reach out. That's hashtag someone get a hold of Bryo. But folks, I got to tell you, you're dead wrong about first place. Phoenix, incredibly powerful team, but option 12. They're not ones to ever be counted out. And with a roster of Shaken Not Stirred, who I had the pleasure of playing with last split, Fat Lee, Prowler 222, all of them championship caliber players, Non-Live Slippery P from last split, and CB Hickey, these are veterans. This is a complete veteran squad. This is the closest thing to a super team you're going to see in the LCUS. This is the stuff, if we actually had a working budget, they would be on the posters. So I got to disagree with you. Option 12 is definitely going to be performing. And in terms of my miracle performers, that's going to be my boys Northern Storm. Because I tell you, you're going to hear it out of my mouth every week. You guys are sleeping on WD Fan. The man farms better than a Slavic farming simulator player. I mean, he knows exactly what he's doing at all times. Incredible control. And when you put someone like Chaosix in the bot lane with him, Chaosix had a wonderful job last split, did a wonderful job in jungle, but giving him the ability to set the pacing in that lane in a much safer position than I was capable, because the only keys that worked for me were F and Q. So outside of Flash, I didn't know what else to do. It's going to be a much improved Northern Storm over last split, and I'm excited to see them reach the playoffs this year, potentially take the cup. I'll have it in the back of my heart, but my mind's telling me no.
I just want to put out a disclaimer that I could not mention Vampy the Vampire because his screen name sounds like a mediocre HBO show. So I was excited to talk about the other members on that team. I was agree.
Mumble rapper.
Oh no!
I'm waiting for his next collab with Brio and SMG Sniper.
Oh yeah!
It's gonna be fire, y'all.
It's gonna be fun.
I do agree that option 12, when you look at that roster top to bottom, it is full. of guys who have been in this league for a long time, and that's something that is underrated in LCUS. You know, you talk about just the way teams change around and everything like that, the way we bring in new players role swap. But when you see names that you have seen for a while before, that means that these people are experienced in playing in a team environment, which is something that cannot be understated. Being a good solo player. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm
no,
sorry.
I was just saying, and they're untiltable if they keep play.
Yeah, that's a good point too. But you know, being comfortable in a team environment is an underrated experience. It's an underrated skill because a lot of these guys have played with different people over the splits. They have been in different team environments. They've played different roles. So if you know that these people are comfortable switching things up and adjusting and going to new metas, going to new teams, that means that you can count on them being able to be dependable. And so that is something that yes, I think that's a good point that you made, Justin. But at the same time, I just think that Phoenix, top to bottom, they have a higher ceiling, I guess I would say, than option 12. But I guess I would agree that option 12 has a higher floor.
Very fair, very fair. Your building analogies. I don't actually live in a building. I'm in a shack out behind Ace's house right now. But I get it in concept. So thank you for describing it like that. So let's break it down. We've talked about the teams, and I want to talk real briefly about this Gale Force team, which is incredibly experimental for us here at the LCUS. This team they built themselves. They met pre-qualified conditions, which are still being monitored. This team could be something big. I mean, we've got Shaden, incredibly strong performer in every lane that he's been in, going to mid right now. We've got Menards Reformed, incredibly strong, 3-split performer, part of that option 12 team that almost made it in split 3. So I think this could be a strong team, but highly experimental. I'm very excited to see where it goes.
Yeah, I agree. I think they have a very high skill level, so it's going to be interesting to see them bring it together.
I agree.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, I was just going to say, you talked about Shaden, who is the player I am most familiar with. We've seen him dominate the top lane in the past, bringing that down to mid lane, which once again, in my opinion, has been the most important lane in LCUS over the last couple splits, will allow him to impact the game even more so than he did in the past. Seeing Menards in the support role, I'm excited for this team. I think that they have a lot of potential. They could really surprise some people.
Yeah, and it's 2 new members on that team too. So welcome to the league. We wish you luck.
As much as you can carry yourself, and we think you'll be able to. I think this is an incredibly well-rounded roster. But let's talk a little bit about who we think are going to be some standouts in role. And let's start, Jeff. You've said it. Historically speaking, mid lane has set the pace for the LCUS, and I could not agree more. And that's why I think Brandana, probably the guy who's put in the most shoulder work for any team that he's been on, being a carry in the mid lane, is going to be incredible. I think he's going to be a standout to watch, and I'm excited to see what potential he shows us during this split.
Oh, absolutely. I agree. I mean, I feel like I spent probably 2 minutes earlier straight talking myself tired. I had to take a sip of my LaCroix because I'm a basic bro. In between talking about Brandon, I think that he will be the key to his team. At the same time, I have to admit that I ranked Ace above him in terms of mid laners going into this split, because I think Ace going back to the mid lane, I think that Brandana is an incredibly talented player. He's a guy who can carry his team out of ridiculous situations. But I think Ace, with his knowledge of the game, is just overall the best player. Like, that's sort of and we might have a little debate about this as well, with you being a C9 fan, Justin. But I think that Ace is sort of Bjergsen and Brandana is more Jensen, where Brandana might be slightly better mechanically. He'll make some crazy jukes and things, and maybe win lane slightly. but Ace is the one who can play all of the champions and can do all different kinds of things and know what to do in all situations. So
Yeah.
that's why I put Ace as my top mid laner coming into this split. It's no disrespect to Brandana. He's coming into a mid new role. But for me, right now, Ace is the number one mid laner.
Yeah, and between the both of them, like looking at last split, it's interesting to see how their KDAs are kind of, I wouldn't say opposite because they both got a lot of kills, but Brandana, his kills like total were at 97, deaths 43, assists at 84, whereas Jared or Ace was at 58 kills, 47 deaths, 127 assists. So he's like out there trying to make things happen, but like Brandana's just getting fed.
Well, Ace is a dependable European stock car, engineered to a point where Brandana is a monster truck driver.
I like
so
that. I like that.
Different types of vehicles, and
Exactly.
we'll just have to see exactly what race happens
It makes it
and
hard
see
to
who's
compare.
wins.
Oh man,
Yeah.
that is so well put.
But speaking of carry, ADC, I've already sung the gospel of the chosen one, WD fan. I am his number one fan. F though. I think he's going to be incredible. Since the changes with ADC, you're going to be looking towards late game scaling because it's going to take those items. Even though new gold efficiency, we're not going to talk about the patch this time, folks. But I think with the changes that have made, WD fan is going to show himself to be the strongest ADC in the entire LCUS.
Wow. All right. I mean, I honestly can. I will say I do not agree at this point. But I will also admit that I do not know quite enough about WD fan to fully rebuff that. I am excited to watch Evil Envy and in tandem Gregosaurus in the bottom lane for Phoenix this split, because I think that Evil Envy is a very, very dependable hyper carry style player. He will take over a game for you if you need him to. He's not the kind of guy, at least from what I've seen, and admittedly, maybe I haven't seen enough, but he's not the kind of guy who is just going to jump into 5 people and somehow do a double lift or a reckless or something like that. Actually, I don't know why I said reckless. He's a KDA player, but do a double lift and get like a 4v1 out of nowhere. But I think tamed up with Gregosaurus in the bottom lane, I think that Phoenix's bottom lane will be very, very potent this split, and I'm excited to see how it goes for them.
Now you're just feeding Gregosaurus's ego.
Oh, dude, I have known Gregosaurus for
chat.
28 years. I will never feed his ego.
In the chat, he
It's-
says, "Who's your number one support pick, and why is it me?"
Of course he
He
did.
already knew. He already knew.
I used to tell the story last split during the podcast about when I played Thresh into his Alistair, and then he played Thresh into me, and it was like seeing the sun for the first time. I think Gregosaurus is quite potentially he has the potential to be a defining support player, which is so important in setting the pace of these games, especially with how they have the meta lined out right now, where one, high impact, constant contention over neutral objectives and engage heavy comps are very popular right now. And with the in-game knowledge and knowing when to go in is so important. And he demonstrates that so well. So I will hop on the bandwagon and agree with you. Gregosaurus Rex is going to wreck.
If it's not overstepping, I do want to talk while we're on positional rankings. And I apologize if you were going to get to this anyways. I want to talk about Prowler on option 12. For me, Prowler is the most impactful player in the LCUS coming into this split, because I think that option 12, if you look at their roster, they are, there's a lot of veterans there, a lot of familiar names, but I don't really see a game changer. If Fatley was a jungler, I would give him credit, but since
that'd
he's
be
on a
scary.
new role, I would say Prowler is the guy on that team that is going to make option 12 sink or swim, and I feel like that's sort of the way it was last split. He's such an aggressive jungler, always getting in behind enemy lines to the point where he'll use Nocturne's paranoia to escape rather than engage because he's so far behind enemy lines. So I honestly think that Prowler, if you ask me right now, today, Prowler is the most impactful player, sink or swim. Could be terrible, could be great coming into this split.
I agree wholeheartedly. I think that he was the defining gauge that drove a lot of that late game success for option 12 last split. And I think he'll be consistent there, but there's a lot of flexibility in the jungle this split. So this is very, very early on. Prowler, incredibly talented. Let's see if this was his medical practice prior. I'm ready to see Dr. Prowler perform. So consider Gauntlet is thrown. And then top lane, Christy, what are you thinking? Who's going to be the top laner we need to be watching out?
Oh, geez. It's hard to choose because I have a prejudice for Blitzkrieg, Stelio Cantos, but I'm really excited to see them face off against, as you guys mentioned before, Lofi, and then there's some new energy coming from Foxton, from White Wolf. I think there's a good mix-up top lane. I can't choose a favorite.
I feel you. I'm very emotional driven as well. I have incredible bias, but it's towards myself. So I personally, Greatbeard Odin, GBO, the notorious GBO. This guy's been a machine every split, top performer, and I don't think it's going to be different. More reliable than a Ford truck, if you believe in such things. Never owned one, but I heard stories.
How much do they pay you for that?
Oh, God, I'm rolling in it right now. Right behind Ace's house, just champagne everywhere. But folks, Jeff, how rude of me. What are your thoughts?
I mean, I'm right there with you, to be honest. If you ask me to put the best top laner in LCUS right now, I'd say Greatbeard of Odin as well. He's, it would have been close, honestly, between him and Shaden, if Shaden had stayed in the top lane. But even then, it would have been sort of that same Bjergsen-Jensen analogy that I alluded to before, where, for me, Greatbeard of Odin has just been the picture of consistency. The guy does not feed. He does not, get camped. He does not lose his tower right away. He is always available to his team to provide something helpful. And I think that will be important with 9 lives. We talked about their new bot lane coming in, Vampy to Vampire. Please get a new name. That's silly. But with Brandana in the mid lane, Yuja in the jungle, I think that Greatbeard of Odin will be a very important part of stabilizing this team and, keeping them level-headed if things go wrong. So, yeah, for me, he is... I mean, we are literally talking about this before the season starts. But for me, he is the best top laner in the league right now.
Couldn't agree more. Vampy, I really hope that you perform well just so we have to talk about you week in, week out. So my heart's with you, if anything, just to punish you.
I don't want to have to talk about Vampy to Vampire getting a pentakill.
Well, you know what's going to let us talk about Vampy doing well, and what's going to let us continue talking about
Vampy to Vampire with the pentakill. God, that's holy insane.
Well, what's going to allow us to do that is Twitch Prime subs. All our Twitch Prime subscribers out there, you guys are the MVPs keeping this channel open. We appreciate it so much. Big shout out to Prowler_222. 11 months. That's some dedication, and we really appreciate these Twitch subs. Remember, if you are a Amazon Prime member, you do get a free sub, and we would really appreciate that. It lets us know that you're paying attention, lets us know that you care about the content, and keeps the lights on. Ace hasn't eaten in a good 3 weeks. Go check him out. Poor guy.
Oh, no.
But please, if you've got those subs, consider giving to us. And Lofi Eel just subscribed 3 months. Thank you. Ace, quit leaving it out. If you weren't such a slob, it wouldn't be a problem. All right, folks. Usually at this point, we would hype you up by talking about the split, but we're going to save the real sensual stuff for next week in terms of talking about the patches. So you have that to look forward to next week as we get expert breakdown of each patch every week. That's one of the most important parts of this podcast. But we're going to skip that this time. Had too much to cover. And we're going to hop into talking about the week 1 matchups, which... Dynamo Week, this upcoming Sunday, folks. Make sure that you join us right here on this Twitch channel so that you can see the action live. I think it's going to be a good week. Option 12 is on bye, so we get to wait a little bit longer. Keep the energy high for them. But set 1. White Wolf Gaming, Team Blitzkrieg. Christy, you've admitted your bias already. So I'm going to let you go first. Tell me about this matchup.
It's an interesting story between the two teams. Blitzkrieg has Stelio top, Jackalope mid, so there's some high skill there. They're going to play well, hopefully. I think that where they need to be careful is the bot lane. They really need to support and look out, which is sometimes where top lane can fall, is he's always very map aware and is always trying to help other teams. So sometimes that can drag down his XP. So either, depending on what they do, if they just they're like solo lane, let's go hard, I think it's going to decide the game. At least for the White Wolf Gaming Team Blitzkrieg. But I don't know.
I can get behind that. I'm excited. White Wolf Gaming picking up Ashaway this split. Probably the best performing support traditionally. Talk about dependable. Her Morgana is stuff of legends. Picking up new ADC, Pointy Ball. So I think that lane is going to be very interesting to see, especially with Soda in the jungle. Shout out to my boy Soda. I think White Wolf has some major contention here, and this is going to be a place where they can perform well. So I think this is going to be a pretty dynamo match as well. But I personally, I'm going to give it over to Blitzkrieg here. I think that they're going to take it 2-0.
Yeah. Well, I guess for me, I put White Wolf above Blitzkrieg in my season-ending standings. But this is week 1, which is a completely different thing than anything else. You know, you come in not really knowing a lot about a team, about how they're going to play, and about a lot of players, how they play in new roles. Some of these players are even new to the LCUS themselves. So I actually take Blitzkrieg over White Wolf in this week 1 matchup because I think, as we talked about, White Wolf has a lot of veterans. So we know a lot about them, which means that Blitzkrieg knows a lot about them, whereas White Wolf might not know as much of what to expect from Blitzkrieg.
Yeah,
so
that's
a I wouldn't be
factor of,
surprised.
the first games.
Yeah. So with it being week 1, with there being a lot of unknown factors, I wouldn't be surprised if Blitzkrieg comes out with some unexpected things. And shameless pun, blitzes them in ways they don't expect, and takes them by surprise. So for me, Blitzkrieg wins this, but I do still expect White Wolf to end above them when the season ends.
I hope it's going to be a strong matchup, and the coin, praise be to its name, welcome to its hallowed halls, says it's going to be a 1-1. So the coin stands with you both. Take its blessing and run. Give us a good match, White Wolf Gaming Blitzkrieg. In terms of set 2, we have Gale Force, unknown elemental force right now, versus Northern Storm. I am giving it to Northern Storm 2-0 just because I'm riding that hype train. Give me that WD Fan and Chaosix bot lane. Plus, we got a Maya Chan in the top side, incredibly dependable laner, top laner, and Baconlicious. Homie stepped up, I don't know how many times over his time playing in the LCUS. He's been a sub for us. He played for White Wolf Gaming. Mid laner for Northern Storm in the past, or top laner in the past for Northern Storm. Plus, I know in the podcast last year, we talked last split, we talked a whole lot about a spicy, hot meme. The man owns the jungle, controls it, sets the pacing. I would say on par in terms of knowing where to be with Fat Lee in terms of jungling prowess in the past. So I think this is just too good a team to pass up, not taking it 2-0.
Go ahead, Christy.
I was going to say, that's so interesting because I said 2-0 in the exact opposite way. I think Gale Force when you talk about the bot lane going against WD Fan, which is, you guys are prejudiced to love them, but I don't think you realize the monsters that are in the bot lane. Like, you're used to seeing Menards in the jungle, and he brings a lot of strength and skill, and Pola's new, but still very, very skilled. So I think they're going to be like, they're a little bit of a sleeper right now in the bot lane. They're going to bring it out.
Well, good. Jeff, thoughts?
Well, I was a little torn between 1-1 or 2-0. But I'm going to go 2-0 because I like to be bold, and there's nothing that I really lose if I'm wrong, I guess. So it's more exciting to do it this way. I'm going 2-0 Gale Force. For me, when I'm on the fence, whether it be in traditional sports, basketball, football, well, not so much football because that's such a team sport. That's crazy. But basketball and League of Legends as well. I go with the team that has the best player. And in my opinion, in this matchup, Gale Force has the best player. I think that Shaden is the best player out of these 10 players. And we've talked about how, or at least I've talked about it too much probably, how much mid lane is important in the LCUS. So for me, with Shaden moving to the mid lane, to me, Shaden is the best player in this matchup. I'm giving the advantage Gale Force.
Very fair, very fair. And it's going to be a fun match to watch. Lots to see. Kind of a very experienced Northern Storm roster versus the experimental Gale Force. What will come out of this, folks? It's definitely a high-pressure front if I ever saw one. Set 3, non-lives, Team Phoenix. I think, personally, as you know, I only have opinions. Team Phoenix power players are in new positions. It means early performance is going to matter. This week one, high pressure on them, and they're going to shine in it. Phoenix takes it 2-0. It's just too strong of a roster to not dominate.
You can go ahead, Chrissy, if you want.
Well, so these are some of the teams that I'm not super well on. So I said that Phoenix, obviously it has Jared, and knowing his mid lane and his ability to carry and shot call, I think it's going to be like some kind of machine. You're just going to have to find a way to either distract them or get around him somehow and break the machine.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I go off of somewhat similar logic. I've talked way too much already about Brandana in the mid lane for 9 lives, but I think that Ace is a good counter to Brandana, because I think Brandana is a very aggressive player, which I really admire about him. I really admire that in the AD carry role, being willing to make risky plays. And I think that he will bring that to the mid lane, but I think that Ace is a smart enough player that he will know how to avoid those kinds of aggressive plays, maybe even use them against Brandana. So for me, 9 lives, it's going to take a little time to gel. And Team Phoenix, they're going to be ready for Brandana. They're going to be ready to counter the obvious plays, which is generally what you have to do in week 1 is the simple plays, the ones that everyone expects. So yeah, I'm giving this Phoenix 2-0. I think that this team has very, very good potential chemistry. I think that Ace leads them to a 2-0 early on. I don't know if Brandana wins this matchup come week 7 or finals. Maybe he does. But week 1, I give advantage Ace and Phoenix.
I can agree, and the coin done as well. Blessed be its name. Praise in these hallow halls. The coin says it's 2-0, and please, almighty coin, do forgive me for not announcing your predictions for the week for Gale Force Northern Storm. The coin has laid its blessing upon both teams. 1-1. May victory fall in both of your homes. This is the year of the pig, so the coin eats well. Folks. Again, this Sunday, 6:30 CST, 7:30 EST, you can get ready, log into Twitch, and check out some of the most dynamic low ELO playing available here at the LCUS, brought to you by GMA Gaming. It has been an absolute pleasure talking with you fine folks this evening, and I look forward to many more weeks of this podcast. And even more, I look forward to your Twitch Prime subs. So make sure you're paying attention. We've got time for one question, and only one. We have... let me find it. Boom, boom, boom. Gonna find it. I can't find where I was looking at. 5:30 CST, 6:30 EST. Sorry. Yes, that was the question. The question was, can someone please tell me where my common sense and timekeeping went? But we found it. Thank you, GMA Gaming, Twitch moderator, whoever's taking care of that. 5:30 CST, 6:30 EST. Folks, we appreciate you. You keep the lights on with these Twitch Prime subs, so keep them coming. We look forward to seeing dynamic play this week and all throughout the split. Thank you also. Gregosaurus Rex coming in with the buzzer beater, getting us with the Twitch Prime sub. Thank you so much. Folks, thank you. This has been a wonderful week to talk about the league, and I hope you'll join us next week when we do it again. Thank you and have a pleasant day.